From the toys that bring a smile to children's faces to the mobile phone that helps us keep in touch. From the cosmetics that make us look and feel beautiful to the paints that make our homes look special.
India, as we know, is one of the very fast growing consumer markets in the world, and everyone is eyeing to get a share of this market. It's quite likely that people would put in products which may be compliant, may not be fully compliant, which may require further work. So, that is the space that we are speaking about, consumer products and their safety.
We can never overemphasize the importance of consumer products in our lives. But how much do we know about them? How are they made? What they are made of? And how they are packaged? How sustainable the products are? And how much on green chemistry are they based on?
Do all products that we consume have standards for chemicals? That's the first thing. Point number two, if the standards are there, are they being complied with? Who is monitoring? Who is regulating it? Point number three, even if the standards are there, do people know about it? Do people understand those standards? And point number four is how good is the kind of labeling that is there, and how informed is our citizens when they're consuming these products.
There are more than 70,000 different kinds of chemicals that we use in our everyday life today in various kinds of consumer products, and several hundred of them are getting added every year. A lot of these are necessary for the product performance, but several hundreds or thousands of these chemicals could actually be very toxic.
So what is the need of the hour? How can we make sure that each consumer product that touches our lives is safe, sustainable, and of quality standard? The answer lies in the holistic approach where government, manufacturers, and consumers, so that the consumer products bear the seal of the highest standards of safety.
The need of the hour is actually twofold. On one side, we have to build consumer awareness. The awareness really creates the pull. The push has to come from the government by making certain toxic chemicals and compounds which are used in these consumer products have to be declared mandatorily, have to be tested.
What are the key factors that influence choice of a product? There is of course the price of the product. There is of course the brand image, there is the performance of the product, there is the safety of the product, the quality of the product. By that normally we mean longevity of the product. All these parameters have to be in a proper balance, and when they are in proper balance, that's when the product wins, the consumer wins, and a rock basis for that sort of a performance is a good standard.
On behalf of UL, a global safety science organization, in association with CNN News 18, I welcome you to India Demand Safety Standards, a multi-pronged initiative by UL that showcases the importance of safety standards across various verticals. We can never overemphasize the importance of consumer products in our lives. The market for consumer products is expanding rapidly. With the markets getting flooded, it is time we ask some pertinent questions when we talk about safer consumer products. The time is ripe for all of us to demand and move towards building a more sustainable, green future, one product at a time. It is in this hopeful environment that we all meet here. And to open the proceedings, I would like to call on stage Mr. Suresh Suguvanam, Vice President and Managing Director, UL South Asia.
Good evening, and a warm welcome to all of you. From the time we wake up to the time we sleep, we are probably interacting with over 70,000 different types of chemical. The question to ask is how many of these are actually safe? What levels of consumption of different chemicals is actually safe for us? There are potential hazardous substances that are being consumed today that we are probably unaware of, and there are global standards out there that we can look at. The point is to ensure that there is a level of awareness at the consumer level so that we all start to create what I'd call the demand for safety standards. The pull, which says that, well, we need a common set of criteria across the product categories, but we need that common minimum platform today in India, and we need that for our people. not just for our people, but also for the industry and growth of the whole Make in India campaign, you actually want to ensure that the common minimum standards that we have are aligned with the common standards that are existing around the world. India is ready for a common minimum safety standards, and that's what this program is about.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to introduce the first keynote speaker of this evening. Please welcome Shri Nikhilesh Jha, Additional Secretary and Financial Advisor, Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution.
We have a long way to go so far as standard awareness is concerned, and there is a big need of creating this awareness. Before the economic liberalization in our country, there was not much awareness of consumer item. People used to like imported goods. The reason to some extent was also that local goods, the standard norm were not followed on many occasions. But gradually, people demand increased, and in our country, standard products are getting produced. And also, there is demand from global market, because for industrialists who are exporting their products, they have to meet the international standards. So it is not only industries, but our own consumers, our own people, citizens, they need to be aware and they need to demand. Industries need to be careful, because to make quick profit, sometimes they ignore the safety norms. So their government regulation plus people's awareness, both of them will act in that. And thankfully, global standards are forcing industries to be more careful.
Now I'd like to invite the second keynote speaker. Please welcome Shri Aswani Kumar, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Cooperation and Farmers Welfare.
We have got a strong liability of huge populations, and we have to fulfill the need of the country, as well as we doing some exports also. The basic thing is that to increase the production, but by that time there are a lot of chemicals, pesticides are used, fertilizers are used, and we also need to take care that this pesticide residues or the chemical residues should not come in the food products. And around about 28 pesticides we have banned it, because due to this pesticide, whatever the food crops, food grains comes, they are slightly poisonous elements have been found in that. But the major point is that these pesticides which are being used in the crops, they should be properly regulated. As a ministry, we do the awareness program for the farmers. Basically, the farmers is the major stakeholder, and the consumer comes once the product is sold in the market. There is a major constraint of the using the chemical pesticides, so the government is promoting now for the biopesticides. We have got some institutes also for giving the training to the state officers as well as to the farmers for telling them how to use and best practices regarding the use of pesticide. Last is the monitoring of the quality of the pesticides. Quality of pesticide is very important, because whatever the chemical they are using, there are certain percentage which is prescribed. And if it is used in an excess manner of that pesticide, then it will be a harm for the food product. Residue will come, and that will be affecting. Thank you very much.
Now for the special address, I would like to invite here Dr. Anne Bonhoff, Global Head of Chemistry, UL Environment.
There are a range of worrying chemicals in different consumer products. And now the big question is, how can consumers protect themselves? Do marks or ingredient labeling really help to guide the consumer? The purpose of ingredient labeling, I think, we all know that. It shall help to enhance safety of the consumer and to provide the possibility to buy a safer product. But how do a consumer know which labels are reliable? What do they mean? And do they contain the information the consumer is looking for? It's important that regulators develop a program that eliminates those hazardous chemicals from consumer products, or that safe levels get defined. And the questions which need to be asked is this or that chemical really necessary for production? And if the answer is yes, is there a safer alternative for that chemical? For me, the point where standards are coming in, because they provide a practical guidance how to really deal with that. It's a guidance for manufacturers and suppliers, how to assess, how to manage, and how to assure that safer or greener products can be produced. We as consumers can play a role there, and we also have a responsibility. As a consumer, we should understand the environmental consequences of our consumer pattern. And another responsibility, to speak out and to inform government and manufacturers, what do we want? We want safer products. We have needs. But if we don't talk about it, how can it be known? And the public, the consumer, has a power when they speak out and really say what they need from government, from standards, to really define how safer, greener products can be produced. Thank you.